What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I am your host, and we are here to recap the Monday night game, the nightcap of Super Wild Card Weekend. Joining me.
Wasn't so super.
It was if you were me, 4-2 against the spread.
Wasn't very wild either.
Okay.
Not even the weekend.
But weekend. There were a lot of cards. I was playing cards during the Cardinals-Rams game because it was so boring.
You got a taste of the cards you were playing.
My dog is being wilder than this weekend was, but that's okay. We'll be recapping all the games. Of course, joining me, Ryan Wilson and John Breech. What's up, boys?
Sweet mercy. I tell you what, the only upside to that game I just had to endure is that now the Steelers didn't have the worst super wild card weekend.
Wow. That's pretty strong.
Oh, well, they already weren't at the bottom of the list going into tonight because the Patriots were. Yeah. And now we can have a separate podcast where we just debate who had the worst loss out of the Patriots and the Cardinals.
I think Ryan, I think the Eagles had a worse loss than the Steelers.
A 12.5-point underdog losing by 21 isn't a shock. A 3-point underdog losing by 23 is
in a game shock. Where Odell Beckham had more passing yards than Kyler Murray for 2/3 of the game.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, I guess it depends on what your expectations were too.
Would you rather have a quarterback right now for the Cardinals, Odell or Kyler?
Would you rather streak?
He's feeling himself. Just give him a week. Wait till
the Bengals playoff run is over.
Yeah.
There you go, Wilson. Now you have to answer all my would you rather questions.
So what was it? Would I rather have?
You know what? Let me start off here by saying congratulations to Matthew Stafford for getting his first playoff win. I've been dunked on so many times with the Andy Dalton stuff that it's nice that Stafford is not going to enter Andy Dalton territory. Had he lost to the Cardinals, he would have tied Dalton's record for the most playoff starts without a win. Instead, he does not tie that record. So that is a big monkey to get off the back by picking up that first win. And this game was just never close. So, Stafford didn't make any dumb mistakes. He looked pretty solid.
Well, he didn't have an opportunity to. I mean, Kyler Murray was too busy throwing pick sixes while he was throwing down, trying to not take a safety. Peyton Manning did actually mention on the old Manning cast. I actually watched it for most of this game because this game had zero interest after about the first 5 minutes. That once you do win that playoff game, watch out. He was speaking from experience, of course, but he portends good things for Will Brinson's sort of favorite player for the time being.
Kyler Murray? JK,
are you
Matthew
your Hall of Fame best friend?
He's 3 wins away from the Hall of Fame. I'll tell you that much.
Any 3 wins?
If he wins the Super Bowl this year, he'll get in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I thought you meant if he won his week 2 games the next 3 years, he would be definitely a Hall of Famer.
I mean, don't you agree with that?
He's also undefeated in the playoffs since his wife told a story about the time they ran into Leonardo DiCaprio in the Bahamas.
Well, if it isn't passive-aggressive Breech showing up because now it's just Andy Dalton and Y.A. Tittle.
How's that passive-aggressive Breech? I'm complimenting the man.
You're so mad that Stafford.
Hey, Wilson, literally as soon as Brinson got up, so I didn't want him to hear it, but what were my first words when Brinson got up?
Congratulations to Matthew Stafford. He avoided breaking or tying Andy Dalton's record.
Thank you.
I thought it was I would say if I were ranking the worst playoff losses.
Well, that's different than like blowout.
I was saying the worst losses of the weekend. Oh, that's true. I would actually say the Cowboys are 1.
Yes, by a million billion light years.
By a pretty big margin. I think the Steelers are really low because the expectations were low.
As Breech noted, it was a 12-point spread going into that game.
Cardinals might be 2.
Who else would be 2?
Patriots.
No, again, I think the Bills are red hot. And that's the Bills. That was the Patriots defense. And Mac Jones played okay. Like he wasn't the issue. It was the defense that was supposed to be really good. And I suppose you could say, well, the defense didn't show up. Bill Belichick, blah, blah, blah. If the offense had done that, like if Mac Jones had 4 interceptions and 2 pick sixes, then I think I could get on board with that.
But the defense is Belichick's bread and butter. I mean,
I get that, but my point is that the offense is more important than the defense, generally speaking, in today's NFL. And if it had been the rookie quarterback who struggled.
And you're also going by the Cardinals obviously had way higher expectations. They were the last undefeated team in the NFL this year, and they're out because they got hammered in the first round.
And
by the way, people in chat are saying no on Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame, and I know Wilson.
Yeah, you guys.
if he wins a Super Bowl,
I heard you.
He will be a Hall of Famer.
No,
that is a stone cold lock.
You and Breech are willing to put everyone to the Hall of Fame. I will.
What are you talking about? Brinson has been on the Stafford Hall of Fame bandwagon since 2015. I have not been on.
You're right
the
about
Stafford
that.
Hall of
But
Fame
generally, when we
bandwagon.
talk about the Hall of Fame, like in the next month or so, and the upcoming class, you are typically more liberal.
Well,
than I
then
am
you
about
need to
who
put a
gets it.
qualifier in there that says Brinson is putting everyone in. I'm putting like 90% people.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, how many more years does Matthew? Hypothetically, he wins.
He just won his first playoff game. My man here
wants
to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Not everybody can get drafted by the Steelers and fall back assward into free wins, despite the fact that you don't do anything as a rookie quarterback.
All right, here's would you rather for you? Would you rather Phillip Rivers get in or Matthew Stafford?
They're both getting in. I'll take both. Give me both.
That, to my point, 100% acceptance rate, just like Brinson's college experience. Apply, you get in. NC State. UNC.
Anyway, look, they have to win the 3 games. There's 3 games, a lot of games. You got to beat Tom Brady, have to beat the Niners, who they haven't done a great job of beating, or the Packers, and then have to beat probably Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow.
Okay, back to the list. So, the Cowboys were
Cowboys the worst loss by far.
Arizona is second.
Yep,
and then I think it's the Patriots and then the Steelers. And then the Raiders had no expectations. Is there another game I'm missing? Oh, the Eagles. So Eagles and then Raiders. I think the Raiders are last in terms of surprise and the way they play.
I would say the Raiders are a little bit higher because it ended up like Mike Mayock got fired on Monday.
Well, it sounds like he was.
That means he was getting fired anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that was the playoffs delayed it.
They lost by 7 points on the road against a red hot Bengals team.
I'm just saying if they win the game, Rich Bisaccia
he's getting fired.
He's probably getting the job.
Mike Mayock's getting fired a week
Wilson's
later.
saying that the Raiders had the best loss in terms of you can hold your head high.
They gave the Bengals their first playoff win in 31 years. I mean, it's not a great win.
Brinson's got some weird flexes tonight. Matthew Stafford, surefire Hall of Famer. Raiders' worst loss.
The Raiders were the second biggest underdog, and
lost by 7.
They played a close game that was suspenseful and actually had drama, unlike 4 of the other games.
Yeah, I think you measure it this way. Breech, were you nervous? How long into the game were you nervous? When could you take a side?
I was nervous until there were 12 seconds left, and Derek Carr threw an interception.
Knees being taken. No, to the interception. Yeah.
Right. So there you go. So that was the least.
The Patriots loss was humiliating.
Yeah.
The Eagles loss is like demoralizing because you're like, oh.
I just think it's Jalen's first time, Nick Sirianni's first time. You went up against Tom Brady, who, since being in Tampa Bay, has scored 30 points in every playoff game. And, they got off to a slow start and they couldn't recover.
So the first time quarterbacks in Wild Card Weekend, Kyler Murray, first time making their first playoff start. Kyler Murray, Ben Roethlisberger. Just kidding.
Last playoff start should count as well.
Jimmy and Dak both had one. Jalen Hurts lost. Kyler lost.
Joe won.
And Joe beat Derek Carr, who's also making his first
lost.
start.
Mac lost. Did you say Mac?
Yeah. Mac lost. Yeah, sorry. I think two good. And by the way, all of those guys, those first time guys, didn't cover either. 0-4 against the spread. Well, I guess technically
the Raiders was 5.5.
Well, the Bengals covered, so that's a wash.
Yeah,
but someone had to cover there. So
that's what I'm saying. They 1-1 there, and then 2-1 with Mac, 3-1 with Hurts, 4-1 with Kyler. So that's something to think about moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyler Murray's, they're owned by the Rams. I couldn't believe how many people were on the Cardinals tonight. I love the Rams.
I had the Cardinals covering.
I would say too that
blinded by Cliff's handsomeness.
The other stat that came out of this weekend, and we talked about it last night, that I think is important to remember is double-digit favorites in Wild Card Weekend are now 7-0 against the spread, and obviously straight up. So rookie quarterbacks, first-time playoff quarterbacks, and double-digit favorites. Those are some trends that are emerging that actually make sense when you think about the context of it. Like,
by the way,
Kyler was not prepared to play this game.
Well, I mean,
the pressure's jacked up. And to Brinson's point, this is actually in my picks article where it said to pick against every first-time starter. The first times quarterbacks who are making their first career playoff start in the wild card round are now 12-35 since divisional realignment in 2002. It's only the wild card round.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Kyler was unprepared. It's just
I mean,
Did
Oh, no,
you
Beckham had
see his
more-
pick six? Should we just cover this game? Should we just go and
Yeah, let's just talk about the game real quick. I mean, the
Real
Rams
quick.
came out. I thought it was very similar, personally, to, and I mean, maybe it's just my emotion, like my feelings about it. Like, yes, but I thought the Rams came out in a similar fashion to the 49ers yesterday, where it was very clear early on who was the team, like the team, if they didn't make a bunch of mistakes, that was gonna win. Like, didn't you know after that first like 2 or 3 drives that the Rams were the better team today?
The first drive.
First drive, sure. I mean,
Pretty clear.
LA just looked more jacked up. They were coming in. The defense was flying. Kyler looked like the lights were a little too bright, which is really surprising. And Stafford was fairly calm.
Yeah, the running game was working. Cam Akers is a fantastic story coming back from the
He looks-
Achilles. They were
that's
leaning on him early. And the first 4 drives for the Cardinals was 4 yards, -1 yards, -11 yards, -1 yards, 4 punts, obviously. And then the next 3 drives were pick, punt. I mean, come on. And then you're not even to halftime yet. They didn't go for it on the final drive and half before the half, and they were getting the ball back, and they could have turned a 21, I think it was 21-0 lead. Conceivably, they could have scored a touchdown and perhaps kicked a field goal in that final drive. Coming back after the half, got 11 points or something like that, and cut the lead.
Punt, interception, punt, end of half.
Game over.
That is tough.
and one of those
Touchdown,
interceptions was
field
a pick
goal,
six.
downs, end of game. They waited. I mean, I know you're down 23 points and you're not going to win, but they gave up.
Yeah, no, they did. That's right. One, as John noted, one was a pick six. The other one was a ball tipped and caught in the red zone or inside the red zone by the time that the Rams player was tackled. Yeah, I just look. Kyler looked unprepared. I would imagine he prepared, but maybe he would say it. It's just who gives a crap? Just mincing words at that point. Cliff Kingsbury looked unprepared, and funny thing is, both those guys are presumably looking for new contracts. And is Cliff Kingsbury going to get fired?
No, what? No.
What if he?
No.
What if?
No.
I mean, you look at the
0.0.
look at the second half under Cliff Kingsbury. Let me see if I still have these. Yeah, I do.
They went to the playoffs in year 3 with Kyler. Hopkins got hurt. No, 0.0% chance. Cliff, Kyler, and Steve Keim were tied together, and they just had a really good season that exceeded expectations.
Well, they didn't have a really good season. Because
They went.
did.
Look at those records after week
Yes,
8. I mean,
there it
that's
is.
you can't collapse every single season and expect to keep your job. Like maybe
No, you're gonna fire somebody for going
no,
to
I
the
don't
playoffs?
think I mean I don't agree with Ryan. I do not think
no,
he-
I'm just asking
you
the
do
question.
not fire him after the season, but he is on the hot seat going into next year because if there's another collapse,
Mm.
then you got to think about firing him.
It is weird that you think that you can just collapse over the second half of the season every single year and like, you got us to the playoffs, it's fine, and got your doors blown off.
Brinson, you would be the GM of the Bengals where you're just losing in the wild card round every year and you'd be happy with it.
They hadn't been to the playoffs in a hot minute, guys. It was Carson Palmer who took them last, right?
In 2015,
But
They
I
hadn't been
mean,
to the playoffs in 2015.
well, how do you explain going 15, 15,
What
and
do you mean
1?
Cliff Kingsbury's getting fired? What are you talking about?
I'm asking a
You went
question.
11-6. That is the dumbest thing I've heard of this podcast so far. And I said Matthew Stafford's going to the Hall of Fame.
I asked the question, number one. And number two, the question you have yet to answer. How do you explain going 15-5-1 over the first 8 weeks of the season and then just forgetting how to coach football over the final 8 weeks, go 9-20, and you're like, well, he's definitely coming back. I mean, he's doing a great job.
It is definitely a problem to go 9-20 after week 7 of the season. That's weird, and I don't really understand it.
My point is this.
Kyler got hurt both
Have you
years, I
heard
think.
of this guy that got fired for going 9-7 in back-to-back years?
Dude, you're not
Going to the
firing
playoffs.
a coach who went 11-6.
Stranger things have happened is my point.
Marty Schottenheimer got fired for going 14-2. Didn't hear he complained about that. Where was the podcast then, Brinson? Why weren't we defending him?
He was too busy hugging Philip Rivers.
Well,
Sorry.
look, here's the
My wife's
fact
mother's
of the
son
matter
is
is that he's 24-24-1. He's exactly 500. If you throw in the playoff game, then he has a losing record in his 3 seasons. And like I said, I don't think that he deserves to be fired. That's crazy Wilson talking. But
that's the question that I asked.
But Wilson, I do agree with, I think where your point was going to be, and is that, yes, I don't see how Brinson doesn't understand this, that he should be on the hot seat going into next year. If the Cardinals start 7-1 next year and again fade down the stretch and go 9-8 or 10-7 and lose in the first round of the playoffs again, you got to start asking questions. Or if they fade and don't make the playoffs, I mean, you've got to ask yourself, and we've seen the research on this. This isn't just the Arizona Cardinals. Every team Cliff Kingsbury has ever coached has faded in the second half in almost every season that he has been a coach at the professional level or the college level. So, yes, he should be on the hot seat going into 2022.
That is asinine.
Well,
He should be in the hot seat. He went 11-6.
he went 9-20 over the second half of the 3 years he's been there.
Dude, if you go 11-6 in the best division in football, you're not on the hot
11-6 is not something to brag about when you started 7-0.
about.
He started 7-0. He went 4-6.
dude,
Three games with Colt McCoy.
This dude's been watching too many NC State
Your
basketball
final
games.
10 games is
He
not.
had three of those games where they went 4-7 were with Colt McCoy.
Brinson,
Hey, listen, if you love mediocrity or something less than that, then Cliff Kingsbury
Dude, every team should hope they go 11-6 for the rest of time. What are you
How
talking
about
about? 11 wins is great.
How about
What are you guys
9-20?
talking about?
It is hard to me. It's hard for me to understand that you don't get the 9-20 part and then getting your doors blown off in your first playoff appearance.
I mean, you lost your first playoff game. That's
You
tough.
didn't lose it. You got absolutely demoralized.
You want to fire somebody who just took the team?
I didn't.
No.
I
hot
asked
seat.
the
Hot seat
question.
going to 2022.
No, I wholeheartedly disagree.
All right.
Not
Well,
even close to the hot seat.
we can revisit this when
Yeah.
I would bet that there's a better chance of
your hair plugs falling out.
Cliff
I don't know.
Kingsbury, it's cold up here. Cliff Kingsbury getting an extension this offseason than there is of him being on Breech's little hot seat list. that he
Well, you can
publishes
include me on that hot seat list because I'm with it. And Debo, please make a note when we have to do the emergency pod in late September next year because Cliff Kingsbury got fired. Please save this so we can run this. This will be the show.
Well, he's not getting fired in September. He goes 4-0 in September.
He'll when they come out with first head coach fired odds, he'll be in the top 5 next year.
Yes.
I don't think so.
He stinks.
Next year, I'm not saying he doesn't stink. I'm just telling you. If
Wait
you
a
know how the
second. You
Cardinals-
just said he doesn't stink.
All right. Let me ask you
He
this,
did not
Brinson.
say he doesn't stink.
Where does he rank on your list of best coaches in the NFC West?
Oh boy. Boy.
Well, I mean, they're all just
Boy.
I need a
They're all
ranking.
just
Give me a
like-
ranking.
No
they're all
filibuster.
just genealogical spin-offs of Pete Carroll, like smart
Rank them.
smart coaches who just won't go for it.
Rank them.
He's deflecting.
Yeah.
No, I was
Side
gonna-
stepping
I
question.
mean, Cliff is. I mean, Cliff's probably 4.
He's
Okay.
he's Brinsoning. Just made that up. I like that.
So, do you
Guys,
keep
wait,
if you have the
wait.
worst coach in the division? Are you going to keep him if he struggles in 2022, or are you going to try and replace him with someone who's not the worst coach in the division?
He had a better record than the Bengals this year, and you're trying to give your coach of the year.
Yeah, and you know what? The Bengals are in the divisional round. Brinson,
I know
Cliff
that's
Kingsbury isn't.
Because they
And he-
played the Raiders with
That's
an interim coach and no Henry Ruggs. They just played the Rams with Hall of Famer Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay.
there are
Good
8
boy.
teams left. The Cardinals were the final undefeated team. They were not one of the final 8 teams. The
by
Bengals
the way,
had
Phil
one of the
Brinson-
worst records in
Phil-
football last year and are one of the final 8 teams.
By the way,
it's not even
Breech,
comparable.
Breech, that Brinson dunk right there, that's like they call a TV timeout. Brinson takes the chair, puts it underneath the goal, and runs up and dunks on it while no one's watching.
Philip Brinson definitely has like a pH on it for rivers and fish.
That's my best work.
I might. Ethan Miller
Yes,
came up with that
I'm
in the
out.
chat. I might hit that thing up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Look, you cannot. No one who goes. I can't believe Debo agrees with this. No one who goes 11-6.
Debo was ready to move from Sirianni in the first half of the season because he didn't like what he was seeing.
No one who goes 11-6 is on the hot seat the next year, going into the year,
Okay.
except Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy went 12-5.
I mean, what are we talking about? We literally had this conversation 24 hours ago.
Yeah, no.
You know what it is? You are blinded by the handsomeness. If Mike McCarthy looked like Cliff Kingsbury, he would have a lifetime contract.
Blinded by the light.
You guys are ignoring the dynamics of the organization and how these things have come together.
No, we're just talking about in general terms.
What were the dynamics, Brinson? They fired Steve Wilkes after 1 year.
And then they drafted Kyler Murray specifically because of Cliff Kingsbury, who came in to coach Kyler Murray.
And with
Murray was
Kyler, he does
the
not have a winning
MVP
record in the
favorite
NFL.
midway through the season. They went 11-6. They made the playoffs. He got hurt. They still went 1-2 or 2-1 with Colt McCoy at the quarterback position. Kime, Bidwell, and Cliff Kingsbury are on the same page. He's not going anywhere, man.
If I'm making my first head coach fired odds for next year, Matt Rule, Mike McCarthy, Cliff Kingsbury, number 3.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Okay. I agree to disagree.
Yeah. Flores O plus notes in the
Let's see
comments.
what Cliff Kingsbury's excuse was for
Hold on a second. Hold
this
on.
loss.
Quickly. O plus notes in the comments. Flores was fired after winning 7 straight games. So, stranger things would happen. What do you got, Breech?
Kingsbury said maybe the guys weren't used to playoff football.
That's a great excuse for a coach that's going to take you to.
Oh, and you know what the irony here is? You know what team in the playoffs had the least amount of playoff experience? The Bengals.
There it is.
They've managed to win a game with no playoff experience. Cliff Kingsbury couldn't do it.
Oh, Brinson, Northern Grower asked in the comments, how long are you willing to give Cliff Kingsbury to be average next year? No, I'm like, what's the record?
I don't even like Cliff Kingsbury. That's the problem.
No.
Like, I think he annoys me. Like
8 games into the season, what can't their record be 8 games into the season? What's their best worst record?
They were 7-0 this year.
I'm asking about next year.
All right, what if they go 7-10 next year?
Then he would be on the hot seat for 2023.
Are you? This guy is.
He's
Crazy.
not getting fired if he goes 7-10.
Can you imagine? that?
What causes them to go 7-10? Is there a Kyler injury?
The coach.
No.
The coach.
Yeah.
So everyone's healthy, and they just crap the bed and go 7-10.
They're in a tough division. You said it. They're in the toughest division in football, so that's why they go 7-10. They go 1-5 in the division, and they go 6-5 against everyone else.
My wife is harassing me. My dog is harassing me. You two are harassing me.
You're on the wrong side of a lot of arguments.
Oh man!
All right,
I'm in a corner and I'm lashing, baby.
All right, let's.
The main, the pairing of Kingsbury and Kyler Murray is a main tent pole of his tenure in Arizona. How do you feel about where Murray's at after 3 years?
Well, once again, he started off red hot, MVP conversation, 7-0, and he couldn't do anything wrong. He got hurt
again.
Well, yeah. Okay. No one's disagreeing. You're lashing out.
I literally just said I'm lashing out. I just told you.
This is Brinson in therapy, not taking a deep breath. Breech. That's what's going on.
Well, and Brinson, you went through their whole entire first half. You start the game with 4 3-and-outs, and you think things can't get worse. You followed up with 2 interceptions, another 3-and-out, and your only successful
playoff game was Andy Dalton Bengals bad crap pantsing.
Not that. That was worse than that. I watched Andy Dalton start 4 games. It was never this bad.
That's true. Usually J.J. Watt is on the winning end when Andy Dalton's
another TV timeout dunk.
AJ Green isn't.
Okay, yeah. So we get it.
Oh my God, AJ Green and J.J. Watt both lost in the playoffs again.
Poor AJ Green.
AJ Green dropped that ball. That was a problem. So let's talk about the Rams. So let's talk about. Well, let Brinson Peacock about Matthew Stafford.
I was saying, look, dude. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Raheem Morris. Okay, couple of things. I thought Matthew Stafford came out playing really well. He only threw 17 passes for 202 yards.
That's the game. That's the blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, this is a blueprint for every quarterback. You want to
that's what I mean.
Yeah, you want to put up 30 plus points and have your quarterback throw less than 20 passes and a couple of touchdowns. I thought that and this is going to fly in the face of me saying Cliff Kingsbury won't get fired, but the Rams coaches out-coached the Cardinals coaches very badly. Vance Joseph, and it was pointed
Cliff Kingsbury does not want to get fired. He understands exactly what you just said as well. So that's not.
I can't remember. I think it was it had to be the Manning cast. They were pointing out that most of the Cardinals blitzes are pass specific blitzes designed to get to Matthew Stafford, and the best way to counter them is to run against them. And the Rams did that early. Cam Akers, man, what a story he is. He blew out his Achilles in the in training camp
5.5, 6 months ago.
You should not be playing football in the playoffs if you blew out your Achilles in the preseason or training camp. That is insane. Like Achilles can be a career-ending injury for a running back. It's the new ACL or whatever. Akers ran well. Sony Michel was fine. Odell Beckham looked as twitchy as he's looked since he was with the Giants. This is the best game I thought he's had, just from a not only production standpoint, when he finished with 4 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. But again, Matthew Stafford didn't throw.
And he threw a 40-yard pass.
And he threw a pass. But when he caught the ball, he was looking, because like OBJ always does this thing when he's like in his peak in New York. He would catch the ball. You'd be like, man, he's as tall as a Smurf. And then all of a sudden he would just explode. It looks like he's a lot like Jamar Chase. Cooper Kupp was fine. He did what he needed to do. Had one bad drop. Tyler Higbee played well. I think this Rams team can win it all, honestly.
Well, we'll see. That was one game against a team that didn't show up against your Hall of Fame coach. So we'll see.
Von Miller was great. Aaron Donald was great.
Yeah, everyone was fantastic. There were no. I mean, Cooper Kupp dropped one pass. Then the rest of the game, he was Cooper Kupp. So I mean, that's Higbee dropped a pass.
You know what's funny about you saying they dropped passes? That Matt Stafford literally only threw 4 incompletions. So, and 2 of those were bad drops. So
yeah,
his numbers could have been even better. And you can't do much better than a 154.5 QB rating, which is what he had.
And this is their best game of the season by what feels like miles.
Well,
I mean,
I would actually argue their best game of the season was the game against the Bucs when they beat them in LA in the regular season. And I mean, McVay was losing his mind after the game, going nuts. Look,
You know how big it was.
What's that?
The funny thing is, Brinson, you saying that the Rams look like they're playing well enough to win the Super Bowl is that I agree with you. I'm getting on the Stafford bandwagon. This is a team. I feel like the Buccaneers are the best possible matchup for them in the next round.
Why do you think that?
Well, first of all, their offensive linemen are injured, and you have Von Miller and Aaron Donald teeing off against some backup linemen. We don't know if Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen are going to play. And the Buccaneers' bread and butter is stopping the run, and the Rams don't have to run the win. They can just have Matthew Stafford throw it 40 times if they have to. And the Buccaneers secondary.
That's not how they win. They don't win with Matthew Stafford throwing the ball 40. He just established.
I'm saying they can. They can if they have to.
I don't think so, though. The course of the season played out in such a way where Matthew Stafford made a ton of mistakes when he had to wing it around a lot.
Right. If he's getting pressured. If he's not getting pressured, he did fine.
You realize Todd Bowles is still the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay, right?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Dude, God, you really hate Matthew Stafford. What is
I don't, but we just laid out the situation, the scenario where it makes sense for him to run the ball, and then Breech is like, oh no, he can just wing it 40 times a game against Todd Bowles' defense because they have a couple guys hurt on the Bucs offensive line. I'm just saying, I don't know if I would think about doing that.
I don't. Again, if you're throwing it 40 times in the playoffs, it's a bad sign for you as a quarterback and your team because that means you are probably losing. Right? I mean, like that's Kyler Murray, 19 of 34, Matthew Stafford, 13 of 17. You can look at that. You can, if you tell anybody those two completion percentages, they're going to assume that the Rams absolutely rolled the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at New England Buffalo. Josh Allen, 21 of 25, Mac Jones, 24 of 38. You can guess the score in that one.
Yeah, I don't know if Mac Jones had thrown more passes at all during the season either.
If I told you Jalen Hurts threw 43 passes, what do you think happened in Tampa Bay?
Well, Tom Brady throws a lot all the time, so he had to throw probably 40 passes. So that's usually
right.
Brady's the exception to the rule because they have to throw.
I'm just saying that you can.
I know what you're trying to do.
Mahomes threw 39 times, but he's 30 of 39. I mean, in general, you can. If somebody's remember the game against Green Bay in 2019 with San Francisco where Jimmy G went. It was like 6 of 8 for 77 yards. Like you could, if he's the only quarterback who threw a pass and he went 6 of 8 for 77 yards, you can discern fairly well that they blew the other team out.
What about
right? And I'm not saying if Matthew Stafford is going to throw the ball 45 times. I'm saying that the Rams don't have to run it. The Eagles went into that game planning, hey, let's run on this team. And when that didn't work because the Buccaneers are so good at stopping the run, they're like, oh crap, we're done because Jalen Hurts can't go back there and throw the ball because he's just not, it's a first playoff start. You're nervous, too much going on. And their offense clearly wasn't going to work. And you could tell within the first quarter that the Eagles weren't going to be able to move the ball and the Rams aren't going to have that problem.
Well, and we saw that tweet from a friend of the podcast, Josina Anderson. A Cardinals source told me before the game their winning formula is to have 25 plus rushes from the running backs in a game and no turnovers in the matchup. They emphasized, quote, if we do that, the Rams have no chance, end quote. Oopsie.
Yep.
I mean, they had 8 carries from Chase Edmonds for 28 yards, 4 from James Conner for 19 yards.
By the way, Matthew Stafford 1-3 when he throws at least 40 times this season.
Everyone has a bad record when they throw 40 plus times.
Well, I'm just refuting Breech's idiotic game plan.
What are you talking about? You're the one that said he would throw it 40 times. I never said that. I just said they can throw first instead of going to if the run doesn't work. I didn't say he was going to wing it 45 times. Go back and listen to the tape, Wilson. I never mentioned him throwing it.
You went from 40 to 45. Interesting. Okay.
No, you did. You were the one that brought up the number 40 or 45 or whatever you brought up.
This is a great Debo. Great job putting this up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button. This is what I was trying to push back on in a couple radio hits today or on Monday, is that people were like, "Oh, Stafford can't win a playoff game." It's like he played for the Lions. Sort of the same thing as Dallas. Like, I mean, except the Bengals were actually good for a decent stretch. It's like, you know,
yeah,
I mean,
I feel like it's a little different than the Bengals.
Like Stafford's basically it was. One year they had oh my god, how am I forgetting his name? Old Debo, who's your old defensive coordinator from last year?
Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz. Thank you. They had Schwartz as the head coach and went to the playoffs, and had Sue and Cliff Averill and who else do they have on that defensive line? There's somebody else that was really good.
I'm not up on my Detroit Lions recent history. I'll be honest.
Well, they went to the playoffs, but Stafford's gone 3 times. I mean, once he played a really good Cowboys team, once he played a Packers team, and then once he played the Saints, I think. And I mean, he basically dragged those teams to the playoffs, with the exception of that one Jim Schwartz team that had a good defense. Like going 0-3 with the Lions is not the same as going people are like, oh, it's only Y.A. Tittle and Andy Dalton. I mean, Y.A. Tittle lost 3 championship games, you know, and Andy Dalton had some pretty weird bad circumstances that happened to him too, like the Vontaze Burfict Steelers game. Or that was a Becerra.
It wasn't Andy Dalton, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying that I don't think I get that the stats say what the stats say, but pointing to Stafford as the problem with the Lions to me was always the issue.
And also, Stafford was an underdog of 6.5 points or more in those first 3 playoff games.
Who was pointing to Stafford as a problem in
everybody's like, "Oh, the pressure's on Stafford. He's in a group with Y.A. Tittle and Andy Dalton. If he loses this game, it's like, well,
no, not during his Detroit days. That's what I thought.
Leading up to this game.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I get it. I mean, you got to have stuff to talk about, so people talk about things like that.
Did you guys watch the Manning cast during this game?
Yeah, I actually did, because this game felt like the least important game of the whole season. So I just listened to it because
the Rock was not very good.
Did you see who Russell Wilson picked in the Bengals Titans game?
I actually had turned it off by then because I wanted to get ready for the podcast and not be 10 minutes late.
Russell is the reverse Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz born in Raleigh. Russell born in Cincinnati.
So Russell was born in Cincinnati.
That's right, Breech.
No, I like the Rock. He paid $33 million for a T-Rex skull.
Understand the T-Rex? My God, that was
his shot too, like pimping his tequila.
And the fact that he has it like in the background of his computer shot, like, hey, everybody, look at my 33. That's a flex. Like,
but it's not even in the background. It's like slightly in the background. He's like, oh, oops, did that $31 million T-Rex skull like end up in the shot?
I think one of the takeaways for me from watching that is how much square footage these people have. Like you saw Peyton Manning eating his sandwich in between commercial breaks in his 40,000 square foot basement. Like with all his.
All the Manning's homes were fairly modest.
Well, I think Peyton does his in a studio, like his buddy, and Eli is at his house. Okay. I read a story about that. So
I thought one of them is in a basement, one of them's in a apartment or a garage. So yeah, maybe it's Peyton's buddy built a studio. It's Omaha Productions built the studio above it, like a thing, and Peyton goes there. Because he lives in Denver, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they don't do it in person, is Peyton ain't flying to freaking New Jersey. I guess he lives in New Jersey?
No idea. No idea where I live.
Who would be the most likely out of us 3 to have a T-Rex skull in the background? A $31 million T-Rex skull.
No. It's Breech. And Breech would be like, oh, look at this T-Rex skull I stole.
He put it on there behind us with the helmets on the shelf back there.
I think if you looked hard enough over Thanksgiving when Breech went on his, to the family's house, there was a T-Rex in that room that just went on for miles.
There's an 80% chance that's true.
What a weird like 24 hours that was for this podcast.
He did it from a funhouse mirror room.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about, I guess, the divisional round. All right, so the officiating
In this game,
was most. Here's the problem.
it took too much time. I'm fine with that.
But they did the same damn thing we talked about with the Bengals and the Raiders game. They buzzed in.
Yeah, I know.
They're
That's your
just
pet
buzzing
peeve.
in randomly.
Sean
McVay had multiple challenges in the first half that he successfully challenged. It was the Stafford goal line play, and then what was the second one? I'm so worked up about it. I can't remember.
A pass. It was a pass.
Pass was ruled.
AJ Green fumble.
Oh,
No, he got hit. He got hit.
Caught it, and it was
Yeah.
like, what do you like? His foot's clearly out of bounds. They said he caught it, and McVay's over on the sidelines. Like, I mean, I've been watching football all weekend. They keep buzzing in at random times and saying, "Hey, don't worry about that. We got this covered. We have 10 billion cameras in the stadium. We'll fix it for you." And they didn't do anything. So finally, he just dropped the challenge flag on there. He goes 2 for 2 again. And I don't want to harp on the issue, but it's a huge deal because it's going to affect games. Like, it might affect. I assume they'll fix it for the Super Bowl. They'll be aggressive with the Super Bowl. But if you have these coaches cannot possibly know if someone's buzzing in from the New York office to tell them, "Hey, guy, we're gonna take a look at this." What is the function? What is the implementation of the replay assist? Someone from it's great. The NFL, how big is the NFL rule book, Breech?
Big.
It's like
It'd take us a
300
week to read the whole thing if we dictated it on the podcast.
And in the middle of a 2021 season, they decided to just suddenly implement replay assist and start changing some plays, but not other plays. It's crazy. I mean, it's you don't know as a fan, as a media member, as a player, as a coach, as an analyst who's doing the TV game, whether the NFL is going to review a play that the Stafford sneak. They showed one overhead shot. You're like, he's in. The first shot from the sideline, you're like, he's in. Why would you call him short?
I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with it. And every time you bring it up, I'm fine supporting that. Here's my thing. And after 45 minutes of commercial breaks to figure all this nonsense out, and Peyton was getting frustrated with it because he's an old person like me.
Sure.
Here's the thing. Let me have this job. I will do every game on Sundays at the same time. You show me the video. I will tell you in 5 seconds whether it's a catch, not a catch, in the bounds, out of bounds, touchdown, not touchdown. And we can get on with the thing, and the games will be over in 2 hours and 35 minutes. Because all this dragging it out.
I did Dave Davishek's pod on Monday, and he said the same thing. He's like, we need 3 people in a room. And I was like, well, let's add buttons. It's like, is it yes or no? And you just smash the button. And if 3 people smash it yes, we move on.
Smash the like button. If
it's smash the like button if you're watching it. I mean, to be clear, I am in favor of and Wilson is too, and I think Breech is too, in favor of the NFL, the league's officiating office stepping in and making these changes on the fly to correct obvious problems. But I do not like that they didn't announce that they were doing it, that they are randomly doing it during games, and you don't know when they're going to do it. And you only find if you're backing it, and you can't get in bed with these sports books and go all in on gambling, and they'd be like, oh, by the way, we have a Wizard of Oz situation unfolding with our replay situation.
Unless you have some vested interest, Breech.
No, they're too incompetent to do that.
That's the other thing. When people come up with conspiracy theories, you go, wait a second. The people doing the conspiracies are friggin' morons. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Or just wait until the sportsbooks start taking bets on how bad the officiating will be in games.
Yeah, I wonder if that would actually snap some action.
I mean, these sports books we have the fastest feed we get is the NFL stats feed via a media platform that they give us. It's still almost because somebody's somebody's watching the play and plugging it in manually. And
by the way, sorry to interrupt you, as Molly P notes in the comments, so they couldn't figure out the AJ Green thing on the field. That took 25 minutes, and then somebody had to challenge it because
Like it was like the Bengals game. Zach Taylor doesn't. I was like, oh my god, Zach Taylor's not going to challenge this. The Bengals are going to lose this game because Zach Taylor doesn't know to challenge. And then Sean McVay standing there with his red flag in his hand, like, is somebody coming to the door to like, is somebody going to help me out here? No, okay, I guess I'll throw this on the ground. And if you're gonna do it like this, you can't because I mean, if McVay loses that challenge for whatever reason. He has no challenges left in the second half of a playoff game.
But that was one of those weird ones because, like Wilson said, they conferred. The officials actually had a conference about it and clearly got help from the eye in the sky and ruled it a completion.
Like, here.
I was actually surprised that McVay challenged it, knowing that they had already heard from the league office or something. That was a weird play. And those are the ones that are worst. We saw in an Eagles game in the regular season where you know, one thing's rolled in the field, then it gets overturned, then it gets re-overturned, and that's when things just look silly.
Well, I mean, this ref is like walking around the field, holding his ear, jamming this mic in his ear because he can't hear the voice that's telling him what to do. And then he looks at McVay, he's like, yeah, we're not talking to anybody up in the league office. It's like I can hear Walt Anderson in your ear, man. What is happening?
And by the way, this isn't, and I don't think we're on this thing, but sometimes people are. This isn't a you have to hire the rest full-time conversation.
No.
It's you have to have the people that can see all these things doing this in a expedited manner because I have all night, but I prefer not to spend all night watching a bunch of middle-aged men walk around in zebra suits.
What I want to have, what I would like is the NFL to. I mean, I guess I think I hate like over policing things, but there needs to be like Jerome Boger needs to pull up a green flag out of his pocket. And he's like, this is a replay assist. We are changing the call on the field situation. And then they show the replay. It's like, oh, that's right. They did a great job. Good work. But the problem is they are sometimes doing it. And then sometimes in obvious situations, not doing it. Back-to-back plays in the Raiders-Bengals game on catches that were just called completely wrong. And then on Monday night, the Stafford sneak, and then whatever there was another catch where McVay had a challenge. Oh, it was
AJ Green.
It was the AJ Green catch. Yeah. I mean,
which actually was incomplete.
Yeah. It was like clearly incomplete.
Well, there was some gray area, but I would just like him to get it right either way the first time instead of wasting 20 minutes.
For sure. Which is, I'm saying, empower the NFL officiating office more, but tell everybody, hey, this call is coming down from New York, and we're changing the call in the field. They wave their hand. They're like, catch, and then like the guy's holding his ear, and he's like, the ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Here's what they do in soccer. It's VAR. Video assist review. The official on the field makes a signal when he gets a call. He runs over to the sidelines, looks at the thing, talks to people upstairs. Everyone knows what's going on. The scoreboard says VAR review. He comes back and says penalty, no penalty, and we get on with it. It takes 35 seconds to 90 seconds, and it's done.
I mean, Wilson, I watched enough soccer to know that VAR is terrible for the most part. But
yeah.
But I mean, this is how far behind the NFL is. We are advocating for VAR implementation.
Right. No, yeah. There's some problems with VAR for sure. Because again, you're breaking down things frame by frame. But the NFL, it might even be a little different because they break down things frame by frame anyway, like in terms of where the ball is or where they caught it. But it would be faster. That's at this point, that's all I want.
And look, soccer is weird because soccer is also different because you're trying to. I guess soccer is actually kind of close to football. You know, when you do the offsides, that's the most common VAR thing where
handballs, fouls,
where somebody is in handballs and fouls. Yeah. You're trying to determine where somebody is when a pass is made.
Yeah.
But like football, you slow it down and this is the problem. The referees are doing the work on the field in real time with no replays available to them. And we are all at home watching in 4K with 72 cameras, and we know exactly what is happening and what has happened on each play immediately after because the replays are like, well, that's clearly not a catch. I mean, it's somebody said this today. I'm trying to think who said this. They need to match the technology to the process. It shouldn't be that hard. Also,
a lot of younger, the guys that referee and women that referee soccer games, younger, better shape. I mean, make it that what you will.
Yeah. Hire Matt Snyder.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So we know I guess we have divisional matchups here.
All right, Breech, give us the days and the matchups.
Guess who's kicking off the divisional round?
Better be the the Patriots. Better be the Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals in their famous 4:30 p.m. Eastern time slot
And
on
under center for
Saturday.
the Tennessee Titans, Jerome Boger.
No, that's not true.
They actually did announce the officiating crews today. I don't remember who the Bengals got.
Boger got kicked off.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's definitely not Boger.
I was
but,
thinking he was playing quarterback for the Titans.
Oh, that's yeah.
yeah, I'll give you the officiating crews here in a second. Yep, Bengals Titans 4:30 p.m. on CBS Saturday. Saturday night, 49ers at Packers, 8:15 on Fox. And that one could be about 15 degrees. We talked about that a little bit. The one we didn't know until the Monday night game was over is that the Rams are now headed to Tampa Bay, where they beat the Bucs earlier this year. They won in Tampa Bay last year.
Ooh, there we go.
And that game is at 3 p.m. on NBC because the schedule switched up a little bit for the past 2 years. Those Sunday divisional games have been moved to the later times. And then Bills Chiefs Sunday night, 6:30 CBS.
I mean, I got to say, I know that the wild card round was not as desirable as people were hoping it would be with the super action and all these games over the course of 3 days. These are 4 really, really good divisional round games.
And if you need any convincing, just look at the spreads. They're all 4 or less, 4.5 or less.
5.5 or less. The Packers
are 5.5. I would guess that comes down a little bit more.
But the other 3 are under 3.5. So you have, I mean, they're all under 6, which is
San
impressive.
Francisco is higher in DVOA than Green Bay.
Well, and then real quick, I'll give you the officials. Cleet Blakeman's crew is on Bengals Titans. Ron Torbert on 49ers Packers. Sean Hockley on Rams Buccaneers, and John Hussey on Bills Chiefs.
Also, the other thing they do with these officials, which doesn't really make any sense, is these crews work the entire regular season together.
So dumb.
And then they split them up and put them with new people. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, because they individually grade each of the officials, and then they keep a couple of them together, and then they bring in a bunch of randos, and then that's like basically playing a Pro Bowl game and being upset that you don't win. You don't win the division. Yeah, you don't know each other. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's crazy. So Rams, man, I mean, I think, and I'm biased because I bet it, but if you were insane enough to bet 49ers Bengals Super Bowl matchup, you got the best possible draw you could ask for. Like, I don't want the Bengals playing the Bills or the Chiefs in. I don't want to have them to beat both of them because I don't think.
What are those odds?
85 to 1.
85.
Yeah.
And then what is like the extreme? Like what's Packers Bills or Packers Chiefs or something?
Like 7 to 1 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
85 to 1 is pretty deep.
That's not actually throwing away your money. Typically, I say you're just throwing away your $10 or whatever. 85 to 1 with those, that feels like you're actually getting some value.
Like if the Bengals beat the Titans, and they might not. That line went from 2.5 to 3.5. Titans could totally win that game with the Larry Ogunjobi on IR on Monday. Derrick Henry back. Titans could easily roll in that game. But I mean, the
Breech will be there.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals won. I wouldn't be surprised if every single underdog in these 4 games won. Ooh, what does that parlay pay?
That would be an interesting one.
That's like
the Bengals, Bills, Rams, and 49ers winning is not crazy at all.
What about plus 300? Is that?
Oh, hell no. It's going to be like
lower?
25 to 1?
Really?
All 4 underdogs winning?
But they're so close.
The last time that
4-game parlay.
all 4 games in the divisional round had a point spread of under 7 points. So this is rare because the lowest point spread here is 5.5. So that's crazy. But the last time all 4 were just under 7 was 2003.
Wow.
And the favorite teams went 2-2, and 2 of the 4 games went to overtime.
How'd the underdogs do?
Stephen Brown is correct, by the way. 35 to 1.
Dang.
I bet that right now.
That was a joke, Breech.
I got it. Because 2
I
and 2.
was slightly off with a 3 to 1 there.
Yeah, just a touch off.
These teams are so tight, though. I feel like a bunch of just pick'ems.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, all 4 dogs winning probably going to happen. It's not that crazy.
All right, here we go. The last time it was this close point spreads was 1988, which coincidentally was a divisional round that also included the Bills, the 49ers, the Bengals, and what the Titans were back in, then the Oilers. So we have 4 of the same 8 teams.
You said the 49ers, right? Because they won the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah, they played the Bengals in the Super Bowl that year.
That Tim Crumry Super Bowl?
That was where he broke his leg.
Yeah.
O Plus points out in the comments that the Niners and Bucks injuries might be an issue. You're not wrong.
Who's hurt on the Niners?
Well, it
Fred
was
Warner. Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are dealing with.
He's going to play. And then Joe,
but he's got an ankle injury, and even if you're out there, it's a little rough. And Jimmy Garoppolo's got the shoulder sprain, plus the thumb injury, plus playing in 15 degrees. Your injuries don't feel good.
Well,
and I know everyone's talking about the Bills-Chiefs divisional round, but do not forget that the Titans-Bengals want to combine 3-0 this year against the Bills and Chiefs.
Okay, I won't forget that.
Don't forget.
Jimmy G played at Eastern, wherever. Where'd he go? Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not an issue. And by the way, his shoulder hurting, maybe he's better than he would be throwing airmail on those passes. Interceptions. I don't think that's an issue either. The other issue, the Bosa Warner thing, are legit.
No, Bosa's concussion. So we'll see what happens with that. That's TBD.
And they play Saturday, which is definitely a negative because that's one less day to recover.
But Warner tweeted he's gonna be fine, or indicated he would be fine. If
Breech trying to manufacture storyline.
No, I'm saying it's an ankle injury. If he's not 100%, that's an issue. He can be on the field.
Breech MZ.
You're not tweeting that if you don't feel like you're going. But
no, I think he is going to play. I'm saying if he's playing at 90% versus being 100%, that's a big difference, especially when you're going against the Packers offense.
Everyone's
TMB
right now.
20-mile Breech.
I'm at like 75% right now.
On what? High?
Just my body's at 75%. I mean, it's like NFL players are definitely not at 90%. No NFL players at 90%. Everyone's at like 60%. And you just need 22 guys.
Brinson, we're not talking about your blood alcohol level. Is that really at 75%?
It's funny that the one guy who's the son of an NFL player is like, if you're not at 99% going into the divisional round.
Well, this is the guy who got concussed while throwing a fake punt touchdown that there are no records of. So he's fine.
Yeah, I just bet that 4-dog parlay. Yeah. Claire G points out in the chat as well. Hit the like button if you're watching the chat. A 49ers Bengals Super Bowl is absolute worst case for this podcast and Ryan Wilson.
That's where we kick Wilson off the podcast.
Because
it's just me and Brinson for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, I bet the matchup. Breech has got the Bengals at the Super Bowl. I picked the 49ers to win the Super Bowl before the season.
Well, but also, that being said, the 49ers are probably the last team that Bengals want to see because it's like every time we get to the freaking Super Bowl, we're playing the 49ers. They've already played each other twice. I believe that would be the first time 2 teams have met 3 times in the Super Bowl. Yeah, so it would be not an ideal matchup, but you're in the Super Bowl, so who cares?
I would say that's the
best. That overshadows that.
Best possible matchup you could get out of the NFC. Okay, that's it for the recap of.
Hold on, I have something quick. Debo's not gonna let me get out of this.
Oh, would you rather? Oh, that's right. Are you
a quick one? You ready?
Breech, ask your would you rather first?
I don't have one.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, that one. Oh, I was like, what does he have? No, here we go.
Ryan, do you have one lined up? Or
yeah, I got it lined up. I'm ready to go. Okay. Would you rather drink a gallon of used hot dog water or a shot glass of someone else's foot sweat? Gallon of used hot dog water.
God.
A shot glass of someone else's foot sweat.
I mean, that's easy. I'm 100% drinking the hot dog water. I don't want
a gallon though. It's a milk jug.
A gallon of hot dog water.
Yeah. Have you ever had hot dogs? They're delicious, and it's just like
they're pretty. They're pretty good.
No, give me the foot sweat. It's a
shot. Oh my God! What?
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think.
You need to put this as a poll on your Twitter, Brinson. You're wrong. Nobody's drinking foot sweat except for Rex Ryan.
A
gallon's a lot.
You can't drink it over the course of a weekend.
Is there a time limit?
Yeah, buddy.
Like 5 minutes or whatever. You can't be goofing around.
5 minutes. I can't drink a gallon of anything in 5 minutes. That's
my point. Is you can't take 2 days to do it.
Oh, how about 2 hours?
It has to happen in 2 hours. Yes.
Right, I'd like to chime in real quick.
Yeah. What do you have, Debo? For 2 hours.
Grab the shot and get done with it.
Yeah, you're done. It's foot sweat. It's not.
This is as dumb as the one where we asked if you'd rather be in a shark tank or a tiger cage.
No, right, this is
the answer here is hot dog water.
You guys were all wrong about that one, by the way.
But we had differing answers, so I'm not sure how we're all.
Nah, I feel like you all agreed.
Well, wait, what's the first one you're talking? What's
Well,
one?
personal experience here. I lived.
Are you talking about
with-
the dog thing, or are you talking about the hot dog thing?
This is back to Wilson's comment right now.
Okay.
Foot sweat, hot dog water. I lived with someone
Oh no.
within the past few years
Oh my god.
that would routinely drink hot dog water.
Ugh. Like out of the like
It's
you would
normal.
boil them or something?
Boil the hot dogs
Oh god.
once a week.
What?
Would drink the
Delicious.
water afterwards.
The twist here is that it's me.
Oh,
I mean, look, to be clear, everyone would rather drink hot dog water than foot sweat. But a
If it's a
gallon
shit-
of hot dog
right,
water
exactly.
is a. I mean, I don't want to. I mean,
Seriously, put the poll on Twitter, Brinson. There's no way people are picking foot sweat.
LTP Sports asked in the comments,
Ridiculous.
and Debo did not move out immediately.
Nah, I made that move.
Oh, there you go.
how many cups in a gallon?
I don't know. Google that. It'll tell you.
A lot.
I've already Googled
It-
how many
A
cups.
gallon's what, 64 ounces? So 8 cups? Or is a gallon 128 ounces?
A shot glass is 2 ounces. What's a shot?
A shot is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
ounce.
So
An ounce.
16 cups in a gallon.
So 16 cups of. Oh God.
16.
And also,
Yeah.
there's like varying factors in here too. Like,
What if I'm
What
thirsty
are-
and I like hot dogs?
It's all salt water with hot dog juice.
oh my
in
God,
it.
I
you're
love
gonna feel
salt.
like crap for like 7 days.
I'll have a heart attack probably.
And then on the other hand, you're gonna have drank someone's foot sweat, which is
1 ounce on the shot glass. So that's what you said, Brinson.
No,
Right.
2 ounces. Got to be 2 ounces.
Okay,
Also-
2 ounces. Fine.
Also, you have to know who like.
Whose
you have
foot
to
sweat
know-
is it?
You have to, exactly. You have to know whose foot sweat is it, and
Yeah.
where is the hot dog water coming from? Is it like 7-Eleven hot dog water?
It's
Yes.
It's an NFL offensive lineman's foot
Yeah.
sweat
and 7-Eleven
after
hot
a
dog
game
water.
that they squeeze out of a sock.
Yeah, it's Vince Wilfork's workout sock, and it's 7-Eleven hot dog water,
Disgusting.
and it's all at 78 degrees. Both are
Breech,
78 degrees.
ask the one you asked before the podcast.
No, don't. Let's get out of here.
No, we're not talking about. I'm not getting fired.
But tomorrow we're doing a podcast, and I got more questions, so we'll do that next time.
Yeah, I would. I
That'll
actually.
be our
actually-
off-season
I
thing.
wanna- I kind of want to change my answer now. I think I'm gonna.
No, you can't change.
I'm doing foot sweat. I'm out. I'm not.
I need
Breech
to
is
know
gonna
that. I
throw
need
up.
to know the foot sweater, and like I need to see
I
their.
told you it's Vince Wilfork after a workout in Texas in July.
I bet Vince Wilfork has very nice feet.
But the point is, he's an defensive lineman. That's what Breech said was looking for.
I mean, it's better than like a. I mean,
Like what? Here's the thing: if you're like running on a track, it's literally just human. It's just sweat. It's not like he drags sweat through dog do or something.
the way if I got a like a look see at the feet in question, and I could confirm that there was no, immediate fungus virus on said feet.
No, it's
no,
it's
you don't get to
fires-
confirm that. No, it's not. You don't.
All
There
right,
could be
fine.
athletes.
I'm
split.
saying,
You can't. You can't.
the shot of foot sweat, you're probably going to vomit for like 30 minutes.
Nah,
But
you're just drinking hot salt water.
That's
With
like
some-
you're drinking with hot dogs too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
a gallon of
two,
it, and you're
it's
going
2 ounces instead of
to feel like ass for 7 days, minimum.
yeah.
A gallon of hot dog. Oh my god! I mean, you know that hot dogs are made of like pigs' beeholes.
Oh, they're all ground
Feet
up
are
and
made
then
of pig's feet and like it's the ground up disgusting.
you're drinking
things
beehole
come from a
juice.
pig. Yeah, it's actually
real
actually,
quick.
They in eastern North Carolina, what they do is they ground up pig's feet
That's
and then
gross.
they squeeze foot sweat on top of them, and then they make hot dogs out of them. They encase them in a hot dogs are disgusting.
All right, last word.
We
Breech,
are
we can get out of
ranking.
here.
We are ranking the bad losses from Wild Card Weekend. This was the first time since 1982 that 3 or more
It's
teams
leaving right now.
Yeah, right,
lost
so.
by 20 or more points.
All right.
That's from
All right.
ESPN Stats and Info.
That's what this is your fault, by the way, Wilson. It's
Yeah,
your-
Wilson.
Mike
Or if I
87
wouldn't have
Kush-
asked that crazy question before, Wilson would have gotten out of his book, and then we wouldn't be here, and our listeners wouldn't be just drinking foot sweat right now, just so they don't have to remember this podcast.
We'll leave on this. Ethan Miller notes: would you rather have a pint of hot dog water or a pint of Skyline chili? That's a dog.
And the answer is hot dog water. I didn't think
I bathed in Skyline chili, so definitely the second one.
I believe that too.
I will say that I hadn't thought through I need some more information about it is a good point. Like somebody said the hot dog water is boiled. It's boiled water, which kills a bunch of germs, versus
Thank you.
an actual germ manufacturing factory.
Thank
Here's
you.
what will happen.
So it's
I
You're on my
will
team
drink.
now.
I will chug the 2 ounces of Vince Wilfork foot sweat, and then Brinson.
Oh, what about this? You take a shot of foot sweat, Wilson, and you don't have to get the tattoo.
No, I'm fine getting the tattoo. You're paying for it. That's what we're waiting on next, and maybe it'll happen in L.A.
Wait on me. What are you
Oh, I
talking
like that. We'll all be together.
about?
That's the perfect.
No.
That's
No,
the perfect
it's-
time.
We have the drawing from Dum Dum Magoo there,
Has
and
it
now
been
you.
confirmed by the tattoo company?
Well, if we're gonna be in LA, then it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And be even better if the Bengals
And it's-
there and Ryan Finley's doing Radio Row interviews.
Yeah, so now I need to know how much a good tattoo goes for. Apparently,
Brinson,
$100
just write him a check. Write him a blank check.
$100 sounds about right.
Write him a
No,
blank
no,
check,
just
and we'll
steep.
go from there.
$100 is steep.
cheap. Like people say,
Hey,
don't
we're
get it.
getting a real cheap tattoo.
No, I have final say in that.
Very cheap.
It's gonna be one polka dot.
Actually, I'm gonna have my 8-year-old son do it. All right.
That's
We didn't make it inside an hour. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah,
let's
it
go.
was Nathan Graber McCrae's idea. Sorry. I was reading out of the chat.
I'm doing my goodbye wave, so you have to say bye.
All right. Happy wildcard weekend. We'll see you guys tomorrow, whatever tomorrow is.